I'll Today I'll take you through the sensitivity and triangulation analysis tool, and I'm going to give you a very brief overview view of that. There's a very detailed demo video posted in LMS. I'll show you how to access that also, and I'm hoping that by now you've received a link where you can see this file posted. If you've not received that from Alphonse, I request you to ping her and check with her, and I'll show you where that file is posted and how to access it. So I'll just share my screen. So when you open that link, this is where you will reach, right? So I'm in Pradeep's folder, so this is what Pradeep will see. And when you click on it, you'll see the file is posted over here. This is the sensitivity and triangulation analysis tool, aka STAT, and it's built for two PNLs. And we'll talk about it right now. Before that, I'll just take you through where you can find the demo. The demo is posted in LMS. You can find the link over here under day 4. And when you click on it, you'll arrive over here. And this is where the demo is posted. It's under Tools section. So I highly recommend you go through this demo video before you work with the file, and even while you're working with the file. And also, there's a very comprehensive how to section inside the file itself. So I request you to go through that also before you start playing with the data. And also there's a Calendly link over here. So when you start working on the file, when you start playing with data, when you start using all the toggles in the file, you'll end up having some questions. You'll end up having some doubts. Maybe you'll have some questions about onboarding your own data to the file. So that's where you can book a slot with me, and then we can take it up from there. So this is that link. And then we move on to the actual tool. Now, this is the stat for two PNLs. What are two PNLs? So PNLs in very basic sense, that's your customer segment. So in two PNLs, we are talking about acquisitions, which are your new customers, and your retention, which are your existing customers. So that depends on how you're looking at targeting your audience. And that's the PNL, how you're looking at your business performance also. You're dividing it by acquisition versus retention. And that is what this file will focus on, this tool will focus on. And you'll start by going through the disclaimer. And this is the comprehensive how-to section that I told you about. I highly recommend you go through this before you start exploring the tool. Now, we go to the sensitivity part of this tool. And what is sensitivity? So in this case, we are looking at Facebook prospecting. So when we do sensitivity analysis for Facebook prospecting, what we are trying to do is we are trying to assess what Facebook prospecting's course contribution is towards the overall acquisition revenue. And in the process, you end up defining certain multipliers. And this is a manual input area. So you'll end up defining these multipliers. And what you'll get in the end is you'll get a calculated multiplier for Facebook prospecting. And you can use this as an input to the triangulation analysis. And how you can do that, you can check that out in the demo video. So it serves two purposes. It'll give you a course contribution, which is 20% over here, and it'll give you a calculated multiplier basis the inputs you have over here, and you can use it to do the triangulation analysis. So we have that for Facebook prospecting and Google prospecting. And once you have your sensitivity set in place, you can move on to triangulation. We will look at acquisition triangulation over here. Now, what's the purpose of triangulation analysis? Uh, Triangulation analysis, what it does is it sets your base attribution and advanced attribution KPIs next to each other in a very comprehensive view. You can see both figures over there, and what you can do is you can triangulate on which base attribution number or base attribution KPI and which advanced attribution KPI truly represents your business performance. And that's the purpose of doing triangulation analysis. So again, a very descriptive uh, video is available over here. I recommend you go through that. And currently, the tool is set up for two platforms, the most commonly used platforms, Facebook and Google. Also, there is a facility to have your additional platforms over here. You have the facility of having two additional platforms with max 7 channels each platform. Uh, when you do that, we would request you to have certain manual entries here. So all the manual entry areas are marked in red. Like these toggles also require your attention to select. And so when you enter the data over here, the rest will be taken care of by automation. So that's what we request of you when you are adding more platforms than Facebook and Google. And this is available in retention triangulation also. And once you've updated these two tabs, that's when you can go to overall triangulation. And this is the most important part of the tool, this tab. And over here, what overall triangulation does is it sums up the figures from acquisition and retention, and it gives you an overall picture. And so here you can see what the contribution of each channel is towards the overall business performance over here. In this tool, we are talking about revenue in the demo. You can also talk in terms of orders. It's totally your perspective, totally your choice. And once you look at the contribution towards total orders and revenue, you can also look at contribution to the corresponding P&L. Like in this case, if we take the example of shopping, Google Shopping. So here we can see that we've pinpointed on the LT revenue or the base attribution revenue in the acquisition and retention sheets, and that summed up number is 210K, and the advanced attribution number is 105K. Now, the contribution of these figures to the total revenue is 5.5 and 2.7%, and the corresponding contribution towards each P&L is 6.1%. And in this case, shopping has no spend under retention or no campaign under retention. That's why there's no spend. So that's mentioned as zero over here. And once you have all these figures neatly laid out in front of you, what you can do is you can make certain business decisions by comparing your ROI metrics against your target ROAS. So in this case, we're talking in terms of revenue. So our ROI metric would be ROAS. So here, what you can do is you can look at the advanced attribution ROAS, which is 4.9, and here you've got 2.5. So this is almost double of your target. So what you would want to do is, as a decision, you can say, I want to scale the spend to see how long can I ride this wave until it starts to flatline, right? So in this case, you make a selection here, and now shopping, as we saw, that shopping is an acquisition tactic, acquisition channel. So we would want to increase are spent towards campaigns which are targeted towards acquisition part of shopping. In case there was like in remarketing, it makes more sense to look over here. We can make a selection that we want to make a change, or we want to increase or decrease spend either in the acquisition part or the retention part of remarketing. So we can make the selection here. So in this case, we are increasing our spend in the acquisition part of shopping. And how much are we increasing it by? 200%. And like I mentioned, all the sections in red font, they have to be manually input by you. So I've already populated 2 rows over here for you to understand how to work with this section. So you increase the spend by 200%, and that goes from 21K to 43K. And when you increase the spend, you'll see that the incremental impact of each dollar spent, it'll go down by a certain factor, and we call that as a diminishing factor. So here we apply the diminishing factor to the advanced attribution ROAS of 4.9, which we saw earlier, and we get a new ROI, which is 3.4. Now that you have your spend and your ROAS in front of you, you can calculate the updated revenue. So if you spend 200% more over a certain course of time while testing, you'll see that your return would be 147K. Now, the overall impact of this 147K, the overall contribution of this 147K would be 3.8% to your total revenue for this time frame. And that's the total part of it. But since we are increasing the spend in the acquisition part of shopping, the campaigns which are dedicated to acquisition customer segment, we would want to see what the contribution is there. So this section will tell you that. So you'll end up seeing an 8.6% contribution under Google Shopping acquisition. So you've got your 3.8% here, you've got your 8.6% here. That is compared against 2.7 and 6.1%. So that's the percentage increase in your business and your acquisition revenue that you can see by a 200% increment in your spend. So now you have these estimates laid out in front of you. This is the most important part of the tool, this section in the gray. Now that you have your estimates laid out in front of you, what you can do is you can build a testing roadmap. You can say that, okay, in the next quarter, these are the 2 or 3 channels that I will test out so that I can actually see what the incremental impact is of increasing or decreasing the spend. And that is one case of how you can use triangulation, sensitivity as well as triangulation analysis. Uh, we're hoping that you bring in your own data and update it, or you play with the dummy data which is already populated in this tool and come up with your own analyses by populating all the entries which are in red. You manually update them. And in case you have any doubts, you have any questions, you have any issues in onboarding your own data, you have the Calendly link. You can book a slot with me, and then we'll take it from there. There are certain restrictions with this file. They are mentioned in the how-to section, but that's what we have right now. And I'll help you out in case you have any issues. So I hope to see you soon. And that's it for me.